And
Oh,
Mark, at this point, you should be able to present.
all right. Let me see where that is. There we are. Share. Yes. And I'm going to pick this one. Share. All right. Is everybody able to see the screen okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Fantastic. Okay. So it's not, of course. So come on now. You got to work for me. There we go. Okay. I just want to share this quick video. I think it's it's kind of poignant, and hopefully you can hear the audio. If you can't, please let me know.
Mark, if you're playing audio right now, I don't hear any.
You cannot hear it. Okay. And I'll just skip it then because I'm not too familiar with the Zoom capabilities. And I know that there's some place where you have to go and say share audio, but I'm just not familiar enough with that to be able to do it. So I'm let's see if I can just look one real quickly on a couple of these spots to see if I know where. And if not, then I will just continue on. Video is not extremely important to the presentation. So, and I don't see where. So just going to keep moving on from here. Let's escape out of this video. And I think it's because I was sharing the wrong screen. And I apologize for that. If we have time, we'll do it in the end. Okay, you can still see the screen though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic. Back to the PowerPoint then. All right. So we're going to just move on from here. I got 3 screens going at once, so it's kind of interesting for me on my side here. All right. So as you know, we first partnered with the First Lady to launch One Pill Can Kill. And we've now since then partnered with the Virginia Foundation for Healthy Youth and Marty Kilgore's group to help them launch the It Only Takes One. The reason I bring that up is because we did use our asset forfeiture money to pay for the website for It Only Takes One. And what we've done is make sure that we're tracking the links and the clicks that go from the advertising that you're paying for and sending them either to the Virginia Rules website, to the One Pill Can Kill website, or the Only Takes One, just so that we can get a sense of where people are going and what they're most interested in once they get to the resources page. And I'll show you that here briefly in a minute. So I just wanted to make sure that you know that. And for those who maybe don't know all of the details, we received $750,000 from you, and we matched that with $500,000 of our own funds to make sure that we could, have the greatest reach for the project. And on the right-hand side there, those top 3 graphics are the 3 current billboards, and I'm going to talk about how those will change as we move forward. Oh, it's so frustrating. Moving on my side, but not on yours. Okay. I am like not doing so well with the clicking here. Current slide. Okay. I just wanted to kind of also go over the details of the proposal that we originally sent, just briefly. The billboards that we put up, we have 16 in rotation right now. We had said that they would give out about 50 million or 60 million impressions. To date, from March to May, we've already hit 50 million on that, rotating 16 billboards across 13 cities. On broadcast television, or traditional media and radio. Well, broadcast television first, I'll start with. We had said that we would have 250 PSAs or 2,500 PSAs playing from March to May. So far, we've had 5,200 PSAs that have played, and that's the actual video. And we are starting to alternate. We filmed 3 different versions of that video. We also filmed portions of the video in case it increased or decreased. And currently, we're holding steady and we've seen some decreases. So we're hoping that we don't have to use the versions where we said, 6 for Virginians or 7 Virginians are dying. I think we're going to be able to go back to the 4 here shortly. So that's very, very good news. So instead of 2,500 over the course of the entire campaign, so far we've already done 5,200. And a lot of that is because the networks have agreed to allow us to pay additional or put additional PSAs up for free. So that's pretty cool. And the great thing about that is they want to give us like the terrible hours, which is when the addicts are up anyway. So it's kind of a good deal for us. Local radio, we said we'd have 650 spots. So far, we've done 2,613. We've included we've started to switch our campaigning a little bit. And in the next year, we'd like to even move it more to focus more on universities and colleges and high schools. We found a group that can get us into all the high school gyms. And so we are working to do that and also work with the coaches. Temporarily, this is one that we were able to use some extra funding that we had left over from your campaign to put this one up in the Henrico facility that just went up. My son just graduated there, so he saw it, took a picture of it, and sent it to me. That's what this is. Thought it was pretty cool. And it was also a UR code was on all the televisions. So while I was there, I kept scanning it so that we'd have more and more clicks, obviously. So just wanted you to be able to see that. And let's see, the next slide here, I'm going to really quickly, I don't know how much time I have, so I just want to sort of go through this as quickly as possible. Some of the other stats I want to give you is overall, clicks to the website. We've had 28,000 clicks, and I'm going to show you what that means here in a minute from the digital advertising. We've had 14 million impressions from the advertising, but we haven't had as many people clicking on it it takes them to the actual website. 24,000 have clicked on to go to Virginia Rules, and 28,000 have clicked on it to go to One Pill Can Kill. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but from there, these are people who are spending a lot of time on the website and finding, a lot of good resources and information, even going over to It Only Takes One or going over to Help Right Now. And so it's, we're going to try to, hopefully improve that click-through rate. But just wanted to let you know that is also happening. It's kind of a bonus that we were hoping for but didn't expect. The video views, I'm going to show you that here in a second. We promised, I can't remember what we promised on that. I don't think we promised anything on that, but I do want you to know that there have been 1,070,080 video views so far from March to May, and that includes that's the YouTube non-skippable video. So people watching stuff on YouTube, it pops up, and they can't basically skip out of it if they're not paying for the service or they're on YouTube, they have to watch it. So that's been one of our highest performers. Social media ads impressions, that's Instagram and Facebook. We've had 1,452,000 of those. And then web engine searches, there have been 1.8 million web engine searches for One Pill Can Kill that have taken them to our website. The outdoor advertising, it's growing. It's been very, very, effective, I think. I'm starting to see them everywhere. So it's pretty cool. One of the things I wanted to show you is this right here. I don't know if you can see where it says view optics dashboard. I'm gonna try. The problem is I'm sharing one screen, so I'm gonna have to like drag this over to the other screen. And can somebody tell me like as far as a time check, how much time I have?
Mr. Chairman, I think that, we've got a total of 2 hours for the whole meeting. I don't think we're gonna take,
Oh, Lord.
I doubt we'll take a full hour, so,
All right, I'm
with
not
your
gonna be,
indulgence,
but
I think
another.
Mr. Fair can have
Yeah,
several
Mark,
minutes.
Mark, that doesn't mean you can have an hour.
No, if I can have 10 more minutes, 5 more minutes, I'll be
Yeah,
great.
that'd be fine. That'd be fine.
Okay.
Don't get carried away now, Mark.
I won't. Let me see if I can
Mr.
change.
Chairman, you give us lawyers an opportunity to talk. We're going to talk.
Well, I do want to give an opportunity for questions. So, but I do want to show you this. I'm going to send you this so that any of you at any time can go on to here and click One Pill Can Kill. Now don't go looking at my Operation Ceasefire or my Gilpin campaign, but if you click on this, it's going to give you real time impressions for the digital campaign. And so you can select your time frame, but this will give you some pretty cool data or information that you want. You can see that here where we started in the month of March, and 6 million units or impressions, views, clicks, all that. This is where we want to be throughout the campaign. The reason you're seeing it go down here in June is because we're not finished with June. We anticipate that this will be right up there in the 6 million mark, and that's where we want it because that's where we're getting like the highest views. And you can see over here, our goal was for this amount of time for the digital was 30 million. And we're at about 16 now, so we're ahead of schedule. And this is the money spent. Now, this is just on digital. It doesn't include out of home, and I will send you a link to that one. It doesn't include out of home or and that's radio and television or the billboards as well. So traditional is radio. So if you hear me say traditional, that's radio, television. Out of home is like anything else. If we put it on a billboard or bus or that sort of thing. But you can click on any of these, the pricing, where we are. It will give you every single detail that you need, possibly want to even see. And we have the same thing for the billboards and the traditional and the out of home. And so I'm just showing you this just as a reference tool for when you want to get more information. All right, so let me go back to the other screen. All right, perfect. Okay. Of course. Advance the slide. See if I can just switch it to from my current slide. Guys, there we go. Okay. So goals and objectives. Obviously this is just for digital. I ran over the goals and objectives in the beginning for all the other, but just wanted you to have just a quick overview of the digital benchmarks and sort of what we're looking for. So far on the digital, we're looking at 14,524 impressions, the 26,000 clicks to our One Pill Can Kill website. And we're only tracking that one for the sake of this report. The YouTube skippable videos, they're way, we're getting the most bang for our buck out of those. We're meeting the benchmarks or exceeding them on all others. And that's display, social display, or native. And I'll just go through really quickly what that is. This is the pacing that we've set. And we expect this to be right on mark throughout the campaign. And I'm just going to show you standard banner, social display, and native banner really quickly. These are display placement performance matrix, and we're seeing it climb tremendously. One of the things that we like is that the especially here where we got 7 million views and or impressions and 10,000 clicks. I mean, that's it's pretty strong. It's not exactly where we want. We'd like to see it over 15, but we feel like it's definitely performing well. Especially with the social media stuff. I mean, we're hitting it out of the park there. We're in the 53% range, and the standard there obviously is 15. So it's looking really good. We're surpassing everything that we promised that we would do for you guys, and we definitely think that it's having an impact, along with everything else that you all are doing as well. So I have I obviously don't have a media background, so I can't marketing background, so I can't tell you exactly why things are performing better than others. I did talk to the marketers before I got on this call, and they said, well, the bigger ads, are having a more impact here, and the little ads are having more impact there. And I'm like, okay, well, that just makes no sense to me. But what I will say is we're using the Google enhancements, and with that, we are filling every spot that Google allows us to do. So any ad that we can place on any space that is available, we are filling. And the money it's right on point, because we have maybe about 18,000 left last month, and that's what we used to put up the banner in Henrico. And then with that came a whole package of additional stuff. We're looking to use the extras moving forward to do places like VCU or Virginia Tech or UVA. So stand by for that. You'll be seeing that coming up soon. So creatives, fentanyl kills is having the biggest click rate. They like that one the most for whatever reason. Can you spot fake is next, and then the fentanyl pills, fake pills one. And you can see there the performance. I mean, it's just way above standard, above the 15%. So, we're happy with that. It's looking really good. This is just a graph that shows basically the, they see it one time, 234,000 times. They see it 4 times less, obviously, 10,000, 4,000, that kind of thing. And then they see it even 11 through 15 times, a little bit less. Like 2,000 people see it 11 through 15 times. So just a frequency thing there. These are our display creatives. So these are the things that people are clicking on. Are those flipping? They should be flipping and showing you the other side to them. But what you take away from this is, if there's a space, we're filling it with the smaller 1x1s, but we're also making them long and skinny if we need to, or larger, whatever space is available, we are doing. These would normally digitally flip. I don't know why they're not flipping now. They should be, but oh, they did. Yeah, there they go. If we see that one of them isn't performing right, or is performing poorly, or is at like 15% when we want to see like 30 or 40 or 50%, I think we're going to probably do a refresh here at the end of the year, going back to school. So in August, we may do a little refresh and change some of this up. But right now, there's no need to, because it's going around. It's going really well. This is the like Facebook, Instagram stuff that we're doing. We are posting different ads, and we have a whole, just so you can see really quickly. I'll do this fairly quickly. Let me go here to, I'm going to show you a different screen. Let's see, share. If I can make this happen. All right, these are our television ads. Like I said, we're going to do 650 radio ads. You can see we've done 2,613. These are the different markets that we're in: Norfolk, Richmond, Roanoke. some of the different stations that we're using. And we said we do 1,200 cable and television ads. Of course, we're at 5,200 now, and these are the different markets that they've been showing in. Now we do switch up the markets, we do switch up the billboards, so they may be coming to an area near you. We get this every month. This is our content calendar, and this tells us, you know, if anyone's ever interested, I can send it. What we're doing and where, how we're responding to social media posts, what we're putting up there, what our different captions are, the different places that we're sending them to, and then we can count the clicks on those. So if we send them to Virginia Rules, then you know we'll have 12,000 clicks there and 28,000 clicks to the One Pill Can Kill, or maybe a couple of clicks that it only takes one. So we get this every month, and these are the different. I think we have at least. I know we have at least 40 different graphics like this that we rotate out, so that it's not the same ones every time. And I just wanted you to get sort of sense for that. And then this is the monthly reporting that we get. So this is May's reporting on the actual website information. So, I mean, if you guys are ever interested in that, we can show you that. And I'm going to close this out with the last, let's see, share. Go back to the video. All right, and let's see from current slide. It's going to be this one. All right. So these are native screenshots. Basically, on the native screenshots, it's like I said before, native. Basically, it's kind of like going rogue. You know, wherever there is space, we put it. You know, so if it's YouTube, Yahoo, you know, Instagram, wherever Google has additional space, we're putting it there as well. Just some different native sites. All right, and that's pretty much it for the digital campaign, the one I've been clicking through here. Some of the other things, though, I do want to just show you is some of the YouTube performance, and so let me see if I can go from there.
And
All
Mark,
right.
let's do this in about 3 minutes if you can.
Yep, 3 minutes. You got it. I'm done. I got 3 slides left, so that'll be perfect. This is our YouTube performance. Like I said, it's way above where we wanted it to be. I have over 1 million impressions on it, and like 700,000 views. So it's performing at a very, very high rate. Very good. One of the things that they're suggesting, and we agree with, is they're tired of seeing the same video. So not that they're tired of my boss's face, but they would like to see some other videos. We've got some responses to that. So we're going to switch up and film some more videos on our dime. Virginia Rules, One Pill Can Kill. We have several, curricula there that you can look at, either drugs, an overview, prescription drugs, opioids, fentanyl. It's we have over, I think it's right now we have currently 3,800 instructors that are active, and 2 or 3 times that who have signed up for accounts. So just some more advertising. These are handouts actually that we hand out. They're in the shape of pills. You can also use them as coasters, and people seem to do that. Some brochures that we have, and some bumper stickers, magnets. They kind of peel off, so you can put them on glass or whatever. We've done 4 different trainings, partnering with DEA, local sheriffs, police departments, and the Opioid Abatement Authority. We've done like 4 of these so far. We plan on doing a lot more with our community outreach liaisons. And that's about it. If you have any questions, I can certainly answer them. I can tell you that it's been much more successful than I had anticipated. We've done media campaigns before. We're trying some old tricks that we've used with our violence campaigns. It's a little bit different for violence. If there's a shooting, I can send out, I can do some geofencing. So we can't geofence hospitals, but there are certain things that we can do and that we can geofence. It's just not appropriate for hospitals or substance abuse programs and stuff like that for us to geofence them. So
All right. Well,
Any,
any
all right.
questions, Mark? Anyone? Any
All right.
questions, Mark? Anyone?
Thank you,
Mark,
Senator.
thank you for that presentation. Obviously, you're putting those dollars to good work. I've seen them myself in my district, and I know traveling up and down the interstate and throughout the Commonwealth, I've seen them as well. So we're thankful for your all support of our efforts, and we look forward to seeing more good work from the OAG.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. So the
Right.
next of business for the board to consider is a motion to approve the November 14th, 2023 minutes as they were posted on the website. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, well, that motion carries. At this point in the agenda, we'd like to ask our executive director to offer his report, and I'll turn it on over to Tony. Tony, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The last time the board met was in November of last year. High-level overview of what's been happening since that time. Can you guys hear me? Just got an error message.
I can hear you.
Hear you good.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So last year, the board awarded almost $40 million in awards to cities, counties, and state agencies. And, you know, the back end of the work on that was to actually transfer the money to the recipients. And because that did take quite a bit of time to get that accomplished, but we are now at the point where all the awards the funds have actually been transferred. The grants committee continued to meet in December, January, awarded additional funds. Charlie's going to give you an update on that in just a moment. And then last month, the committee approved almost $23 million in grants to cities and counties, which brings for this board of directors, the total amount that you've awarded in less than 12 months to about $60 million, which is, I think if we were all in person, I'd pause for a round of applause. So that's really a fantastic accomplishment. The organization moved forward. The board gave us permission in November to do a few things with HR. And Charlie will give you a little bit more detail about these positions, but we did bring some new positions on, both a full-time and a couple of part-time folks. And we just finished on Tuesday this week our first local government regional workshop for the OAA that was held in Hampton. And I think it sounds like my screen is not sharing. So apologize for that. Just when you think you've got this Zoom thing down. Can you see the presentation now? Great.
Yes, sir.
It's not unusual for us to speak at conferences, associations, and meetings around the state, but in the last few months, we've had some national exposure as well, speaking at the National Association of Counties in Washington, D.C., addressing a SAMHSA regional meeting. We had Dr. Thomason, our vice chair, and Charlie both presented at the RX Summit in Atlanta back in April. We were invited to come speak to the Virginia Department of Health local health district directors meeting, which is not something they normally bring outsiders into. And we continue with our presentations to state associations and meetings around the Commonwealth. In addition, we partnered with a nonprofit to do a 3-part webinar on treatment medication for people in carceral settings. And it went off extremely well. We had over 300 participants from 100 different organizations and got some positive feedback on that. In just a moment, I'll talk about our grants and financial management software system that's been has taken up quite a bit of the effort of the team. And of course, we processed, reviewed, and made recommendations for more than 130 grants. And so you can be assured that the Richmond office, as well as what Cindy's doing in Southwest, has been at full throttle. Just a few comments about the grants management software. We started this year with daily meetings lasting at least once a day, 5 days a week for a couple of months to go through all the discovery and setup for developing phase 1, which is really the creation of the back end business section, the business model, the financial model, really the engine for the way that this system will work. Kudos to Matt Terrell for leading that along with Adam and Charlie for all the time that they put into it, just never ending meetings. That allowed us to complete phase one on time. We are now working on phase two, which is the portion of the system that faces the customer, faces our cities, counties, and state agencies. Just to give you an idea of what that will look like, this is a screenshot of what the portal will actually look like. And this one, as an example, we're showing you for Richmond County. This is a fictitious name, but this would be the user who represents Richmond County, and they have the ability to see a dashboard to see how they're doing with all of their applications. They can flip over to apply for grants, manage the grants, add or subtract members from their locality that have access to it. They can look at all of their historical documents. They can look at all the funds that are available and look those up, and they can look at their cooperative partnerships, their regional efforts. And so this is what we're finalizing now. Our goal is to have it go live on October 1st, which of course is when we open up the application process for cities and counties. And then the final phase, phase three, should be ready by the end of the year, but we're saying by the spring, just to give ourselves a little bit of runway. This is the public facing portal where members of the general public can go and access information about what is happening with opioid settlement dollars across the Commonwealth. Just a few words about our Abatement Academy. The online academies have been placed on hold. We were partnering with another organization on this. It was the Virginia Institute for Government, which is part of the Weldon Cooper Center at UVA. They were able to do that at no cost last year, but they were unable to continue to provide us that partnership at no cost. And the pricing that they gave us was not something that I was willing or prepared to bring to the board. So we're looking at options to do that in-house, and we'll provide more information to the board as that comes forward. As I mentioned, we completed our first regional workshop in Hampton this week. The next two are scheduled for Winchester and Fredericksburg in September and October, respectively. Now, that's on top of the workshops that we did last year in Abingdon and Charlottesville. So we will have effectively covered the full state between last year and this year. Just to give you a heads up, under new business on this agenda, there's going to be 5 items that we're bringing to your attention for a vote. These are the first 2 are policy related. The numbers 3, 4, and 5 are more housekeeping. And I'll give you a quick run through on these. And then if there's an appetite for it, we can have more discussion during new business. But the first item is time limit on applications. And so as members of the board know, every city, every county in Virginia is entitled to a certain amount of money that we hold on their behalf. But there's nothing written into the guidance documents about how long these funds will sit. If a locality doesn't ask for them, how long will we just sit on the fund and allow it to do nothing sitting in an account? And what we're proposing is that a policy be made for the board to consider today at this meeting that would create a 5-year time frame. So a city or a county, once they receive funds and they're sitting in the account that we control, that the city or the county would have 5 years to request those funds. And after 5 years, if they have not submitted a successful application, that those funds would then be removed and put back into the larger fund for redistribution to other applicants. So that's the first item. The second item helps to clarify what we consider to be gold standard uses of certain public safety efforts. And so we've been getting a number of requests that we've had to deny, that we've had to provide some education for the applicants for things like ambulances, stretchers, patient care equipment, law enforcement equipment, because you could say in theory that an ambulance could be used to transport an overdose victim. And so what we've done is to create some guidelines about what would be considered a gold standard use and what would not. And in short, the limitation that we're proposing, and all of this is attached to your minutes, would be that it would have to be specifically identifiably used for opioid prevention, treatment, or recovery supports. And so purchasing something that would be part of the normal course of business for a fire department, an EMS agency, or a police department would not be, we would not consider that a gold standard use. The final 3, again, are just some items of cleanup. The first is the electronic meeting policy. The General Assembly made an amendment that said that you can meet 50% of the time instead of 25% of the time electronically. But the other change that was made is that you have to update the policy annually. And so we're asking you to amend our policy, and we're going to have to do this each year unless the code changes. And so this will be a June item every year from this point forward. The FOIA guidance is simply to take existing state code and best practices related to FOIA and post it on our website. That's all that is. And then finally, we're requesting the board authorize an employee grievance procedure that was shared with you in advance of the meeting. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I will turn the presentation over, with your permission, to the treasurer, Mr. Jim Holland.
Sounds great. Go ahead, Jim.
Thank you, Tony. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, board members, and other participants. Now I would like to provide you the treasurer's report, which includes information presented to the Finance Committee at our May 23rd meeting, including consideration of the OAA's amended budget for the current fiscal year 24, and the next biennium, fiscal year 25 and 26, as well as a financial summary of committee-approved grant awards. I'll begin with an update on the OAA's share of estimated settlement payments and corresponding budget. Several previously pending settlements were finalized last month. These include settlements associated with manufacturers Teva, Allergan, and the large retail distributors Walmart, CVS, and Walgreens. Over the life of the settlements, these represent $233 million, or about 38% of the total estimated payments to the OAA. Initial payments from this new round of settlements began on April 15th. The OAA's online lookup tool has been revised to reflect cities and counties' share of these estimated settlement payments, so they can see appropriately and plan and budget for these funds accordingly. And certainly that's a great kudos to the staff in presenting this information online. Next, I'll provide an update on proposed amendments to the OAA's fiscal 2024 budget and the proposed budget for fiscal year 2025 and 2026. Proposed amendments to the fiscal year 2024 budget reflect the newest estimated settlement payments totals, as well as administrative revisions for staffing to include our new senior grants compliance analyst and 3 part-time regional abatement coordinators, as well as a grant management system development cost, as Tony mentioned. Adjustments to the budget for fiscal year 2025 and 2026 also reflect the newest estimated settlement payment amounts, as well as carrying forward amounts from prior years' balances. Budgeted consistent with the board's adopted long-term financial policy. Focusing on the administrative portion of the budget, I'm very pleased to share as a cost of the appropriations in each year is around approximately 5% what we have been targeting, and kudos to staff. I will note that, however, in fiscal year 25, administrative costs increased to 5.7% of total appropriations, and this is due to most of the grant management system costs scheduled to occur next year, as Tony mentioned. Thank you, Tony, for that. When these one-time system development costs are completed, administrative costs will revert to between 4 to 5% of appropriations. That's great news because more money to combat this opiate epidemic. Now, examine the OAA's cash flow. As of the fiscal year 24 accounting period ended May 31st, fiscal year to date cash flow from settlement payments and interest earnings on deposit to the Opioid Abatement Fund total $74.9 million, as you can see on the screen, resulted in fiscal year to date cash flow, including actual state and local grants, distributions, and administrative costs total $31.6 million, resulting in $118.2 million of cash on hand. It's good news. And now, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to transition to a review of the financial plan for cities, county grants and awards and committee approved award totals. Beginning with the individual distributions and gold standard awards totals, a total of $1.8 million, as shown on the screen, was approved for awards statewide. This amount provides funding for 29 proposed projects submitted by a total of 19 cities and counties. Next. Moving to the budget and award totals for the corporate projects. Just to remind the board, regional cooperative project budget totals are calculated to serve as a guide to meeting the OAA statutory requirements to equitably distribute funds throughout the Commonwealth on a long-term basis. The budget for cooperative projects statewide, including the use of unrestricted funds, totaled $23.2 million, as shown on the screen. A total of $19.9 million in cooperative project funds has been approved for awards, including another $972,000 in individual distribution and gold standard funds pledged by cooperating partners through these projects. While roughly 73% of all funds requested were approved, there were some recommended project denials in Region 3 and Region 4, mostly associated with budget limitations, as well as the quality and quantity of the project proposals submitted. Now to review the distribution of all OAA grant awards by region. This includes all cooperative project funds, individual distribution awards, and individual and gold standard funds applied toward cooperative projects. A total, as shown on the screen, of $22.7 million was approved for awards. Of the regional totals, the Southwest region accounted for nearly 49% of the total, followed by regions 1, 5, 2, and 4 in descending order. Now for just a brief look at how the funding is distributed on an individual locality basis. As you can see, the actual dollar amounts awarded to each city and county in the table to the right, while the map shows the distribution of these awards to the various localities regionally throughout the state. And finally, Mr. Chairman, board members, and participants, I'll close with a quick review of OAA's related items in the newly adopted biennial budget for the Commonwealth. On May 13th, the legislature adopted and the governor signed into law Chapter 2, which is the budget for fiscal year 25 and fiscal year 26. Significant items of note that relate to the OAA include language and appropriation that formally establishes the OAA as an independent agency of the Commonwealth. In addition, the budget includes over $34 million in the state's Commonwealth Opioid Abatement and Remediation Funds appropriation for state agencies. This is in addition to any funding provided by the OAA, which is significant to note. And considering all non-OAA funding sources, a total of $42 million is provided for various opioid abatement and remediation purposes in the adopted budget. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. And I want to certainly thank the Adam and the Finance Committee for doing such a tremendous job in not only the software, but also in moving these funds to the critical needed communities and cities in our state to solve this epidemic. Great job. Kudos to you, Tony, and your team.
Thank you, Mr. Holland. I couldn't agree more. Any questions for about the treasurer's report? All right, we're hearing none. The next item on the agenda is a report from the Grants Committee here. And I know that Dr. Thomason is unable to join us today. So Tony, is Charlie going to take this? Okay.
Yes, sir, he will.
All right, go ahead, Charlie.
Thank
And
you.
And in fact, Charlie, just roll from the Grants Committee right on into your next report. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Uh-huh.
All right. So good afternoon, members of the board. Charlie Linticum, Director of Operations, providing the Grants Committee report on behalf of Dr. Sarah Thompson, who's the chair of the Grants Committee. So since the Grants Committee's last report on November 14th of 2023, the Grants Committee has held the following meetings and taken the following respective actions. The Grants Committee held all virtual meeting on December 4th of 2023, where they received an update from the Director of Operations, including current status of all grant programs and application cycles, and a proposed meeting schedule for 24, as well as a summary of the grant applications and recommendations that were up for consideration. The committee approved 5 individual city and county planning grants and 1 individual distribution grant at that meeting. The next meeting, the committee held an in-person hybrid meeting at the OAA offices on February 23rd, 2024. The committee received an update from the Director of Operations that included updates to the upcoming state agency proposal window, the status of the grants portal software, and a summary of the grant applications and recommendations up for consideration. The committee approved amendments to 2 state agency awards and approved 5 new individual city and county distribution projects. Most recently, the committee held an all-virtual meeting on May 23rd, 2024. The committee received an update from the executive director that included comments on the FY25 grant process and how staff reviews and develops recommendations for the cooperative partnership awards. Committee also received an update from the Director of Operations that included a summary of all applications received through this application period, which is October 1 of 23 through April 1 of 2024, as well as awards made at the prior meetings. Presentation also included a summary of the grant applications and recommendations up for consideration. For the individual city and county distributions, the committee approved 9 individual distribution grants for renewal and or amendment, and approved 20 new individual distribution grants. For cooperative partnerships, the committee approved 19 cooperative partnerships for grants for renewal and or amendment, and 20 new cooperative partnership grants. In total, the Grants Committee has approved over $23.5 million in grant awards to cities and counties for applications received during this application cycle. The next Grants Committee meeting is scheduled for August 2nd, 2024 in person in Farmville, Virginia, where the committee will consider recommendations for renewals, amendments, and possible new awards to state agencies. This concludes the report of the Grants Committee. Any questions on the report? Then I will move into the update for the operations report. Move forward a slide, please. So I wanted to give some quick, fast facts so you can see what numbers and workload have looked like from last year to this year for the team. So in the 2023 application period, we received a total of 47 applications. You can see the types laid out in the charts there. And by comparison, throughout all of the 2024 period, we received 126. And you can see many of them have been in the cooperative partnership area. Next slide, please. So of that 126, between February 23rd, the Grants Committee meeting before the end of the application period, and April 1st, we received 109. So as is often with human nature and any of us, we get most of the stuff at the end of the process. We are going to be doing some coaching with trying to get some of the localities to start on things earlier, as they often get mired up in their own budgetary processes that are happening at the same time. So, but you can see the amount we got in that time frame by the different types of applications. Next slide, please. We also have a layout of what the number of applications look like by Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services region. So the region 1 is a lot of kind of north and northwestern. Region 2 is your traditional Northern Virginia area with Fairfax and Prince William up into that area. Region 3 is the far southwest. And we have got to give credit to the outreach efforts of Cindy Newman over the last year, as you see the significant increase in total applications from that area. Fantastic work, Cindy. And so region 4 is more the central Virginia area with, the Henrico and Richmond and further south. And then region 5 is the eastern Tidewater area and the eastern shore. Next slide. So when you look at 23 and 24, when you take all applications, cities, counties, and state agencies, we had 79 in 2023, and we had 162 thus far in 2024. That includes the applications we received for the state agency proposals that closed just late last month. And you can see the different types there as they are laid out by type. We received more state agency project requests this year than we did last year. And we're currently in the review for those. And next slide. So what do those turn into? They have those applications, many of them turn them into active grants. So for FY24, we were managing about 61 active grants. And then for FY25, like as of today, we will be managing 112, but that does not include any new state agency projects that may come at the August meeting, as well as anything else that might get approved at the December grants committee meeting in cycle. So that number is likely to continue to climb as we go, especially as more cities and counties come on with individual distribution projects. Next slide. Report from the 2024 RX Summit. Last year at the advising of Dr. Thomason, we attended this conference, which has been going on for 12 or 13 years or longer. It's the kind of the place to go for the type of abatement work that we do. And this year we got invited to speak and had a featured session about where the rubber meets the road and how Virginia has implemented the nationally accepted principles for using opioid litigation funds. That is referenced in the John Hopkins Award that the board received late last year. The presentation went well, even though we had an 8 o'clock in the morning time slot. It was still, the room was more than half full. We had some very good questions. And if any of you have seen the John Oliver Last Week Tonight feature that's been going around, he references a number of articles from KFF Health News. That reporter that wrote those articles attended. She came up, she and I spoke and exchanged contact information, and she commended us on our transparency efforts that she's not seen in other states. So it was a nice highlight. We made some good connections at that summit. Additionally, as Tony mentioned, we've been invited to speak, and I'm going to be on part of a panel at the National Association of Counties annual conference, which is July 12th through 14th in Tampa, along with the other people you see here. We're each going to be talking about what our settlement models look like and be highlighting one particular city or county grant that stands out. And for Virginia, we're going to highlight the Culpeper County, which is this fiscal agent, have a cooperative partnership with the Encompass Community Service Board in that area for a peer-run overdose response unit. We're looking to highlight something that should be easily implementable at other cities and counties across the nation. Next slide. And so new staff introductions. So I am extremely happy to introduce Sharika Bridges, who started in the middle, actually in the deep end of the city and county grant application review process on the 10th of May. Sharika is our senior grants compliance analyst. In this role, she's going to be helping us ensure all grant processes internally and externally are documented and maintained, and ensuring applicants have met all requirements of application and award processes. She is going to be the dotter of the I's and the crosser of the T's into making sure that we're doing that as well. And this will include her providing outreach and support and technical assistance to applicants and customized follow-up communications. And she's also she is already preparing all of the grants that were approved by the grants committee last month for their award packages. And she'll also prepare memorandum of understanding and transmission of funds. Sharika is a seasoned grants professional and comes to us most recently from Prince George's Community College in Maryland, where she was the grant compliance officer in charge of ongoing oversight, guidance, training, and support related to programmatic and fiscal compliance for government-funded and private grants. She's also served as a grants manager and executive assistant to the president for Northeastern Technical College in South Carolina. And Sharika holds a bachelor's of business administration and management from Francis Marion University and a master of science in management and leadership from Coker University, and has recently moved to Virginia to work with us and is residing in the Midlothian area just south of Richmond. Sharika, as I turn to her camera on, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Charlie. Just happy to be here. Thank you.
Sharika has jumped in with both feet and is very hungry to get going, and has gone quickly and is a fantastic addition to the team.
Welcome, Jim Holland.
Thank you. So additionally, in November, the board approved us to add 3 part-time regional abatement resource coordinators, which are in other parts of the state than where Cindy is. So it's a part-time version of what Cindy's been doing for the last year plus in Southwest. Have been able to fill 2 of those positions who will be onboarded starting next week on the 18th. We have Kathleen Dupree, who goes by Kat, who's comes to us as recently retired from a number of public safety and public health roles in Canada, including serving as a case resolution advisor for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, a senior project officer for multiple health projects with the Public Health Agency of Canada, and has also served in IT and data roles for the Correctional Services of Canada, and has even served as a medium and maximum security correctional officer for Canada's correctional services. Throughout her broad experience, Kat has touched almost every aspect of government programs, including working with substance use disorder programs on both the program and IT sides. She holds a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology from the University of Windsor and one in Paralegal Studies from St. Clair College. And she and her husband live in Orange, Virginia. And I'll show you the map of the regions in just a moment so you have a visual depiction. So in the Eastern region, we'll be bringing on Jennifer Sawyer, who goes by Jenny. She comes to us also recently retired from a number of pharmacy and public health roles, including serving as a pharmacy data inventory specialist for Idaho Medicaid, a grant writer for WHRO Public Media, a prior authorization specialist for Anthem, and over 20 years as a pharmacy technician for Chesapeake Regional and Centera Bayside Hospitals. In her pharmacy roles, Jenny was the first person to learn new systems and processes and train her coworkers, and also served as a trainer for new employees. With Idaho Medicaid, she worked with pharmacists from the overdose data to action, also known as the OD2A program, providing support for clinician education and training and health IT infrastructure improvements. She holds an Associate's of Science from Tidewater Community College, Bachelor of Communication, Professional and Technical Writing from Regent University, and a Master's of Public Health and Community Health Education from Columbia Southern University. Her and her husband live in Virginia Beach, Virginia. We'll be excited to get them on next week. And we are still working through the recruitment process for the Central region. So hope to have some updates on that later during the summer. And this last slide for my report here is the regions that we have created. The purple is Cindy. And then the green is where Kat will be. And then the red is where Jenny will be. We're still working on the yellow portion in the middle, so we'll all be tag teaming that until then. And then to help balance out everything, we created a small area that those of us in the central office will cover around that area. One of the things that we did in designing these regions was to look at the ease of travel from one area to another and make sure that all community service boards were kept whole, so that if you have one locality from a community service board, you have all of them, as they have been integral partners with localities and us to be able to help get grant programs going. So that is the end of my report. Any questions?
Any questions for Charlie on either one of those reports? Well, great work, Charlie and team. Certainly appreciate all the work. I know we're all very proud of the work that we've done, and certainly appreciate all the hard work you put into it across the country presenting on our behalf. So thank you. This is the time on the agenda when we invite members of the public to address the board. We ask that the speakers limit their comments to 3 minutes, and anyone who is online and would like to make comments, please click the raise hand feature and the staff will recognize you and enable you to speak. Do we have any speakers who would like to address the board? I guess this is the benefit of having a meeting at 4 o'clock on a Friday.
Mr. Chairman, there's no hands raised.
Okay, all right. Now we can move on to new business. The first item of new business is consideration of the new or updated policies, and these are the same items that Tony presented earlier during his executive director's report. The chair, I propose that we take up all 5 policies under one motion. If I could get someone from the committee to make that motion.
So moved to approve all 5 policies in one motion.
Thank you. I have a motion. I have a motion, a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? That motion carries. The next item of new business is consideration of the OAA budget. As you heard during Mr. Holland's presentation, the Finance Committee voted on May 23rd to recommend amendments to the current year OAA budget and to adopt the FY 25-26 OAA budget. Do I have a motion to do that?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval. This is Jim Holland, Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. Holland. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries as well. Are there any,
Thank you.
are there any other items from new business? All right, well, hearing none, again, I would just like to thank everyone for being on this call this afternoon and for the good work that we're doing, not only with the OAA and the OAG and the administration, but everyone throughout the Commonwealth, that the good work we're doing. I'm very proud of Cindy and all the work that she's done in Southwest, and I can't wait to see that duplicated throughout the Commonwealth. So with that, I would be glad to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to
moved.
adjourn, Mr. Chairman. Jim
All
Holland.
right, I have a motion and a second. I believe we're adjourned now. Thank you, guys. Have a great week. See you soon.
Bye.
Yep.
Take care.
Father's Day.
Yep. Happy